So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their successes and challenges and their backgrounds and what's really driving them forwards. And this afternoon, I'm delighted that we have with us Levi Fowler, who's co-founder and operations director at Fowler and Powell. So, Levi, firstly, thanks for spending a bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself and Fowler and Powell, what you do and how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me, Chris. Yes, we're Fowler and Powell. We are an estate agent that's operating in an office in North Leeds. We predominantly look after anybody who's in North Leeds and beyond. So we're going as far as Collingham, Wetherby, um, Linton now, and potentially going into Harrogate as well. But that's on the hush hush. Not really, but whatever. Um, we we specialize in our for ourselves in giving a personal service, but a high level of marketing for all of our clients. The whole idea for us is getting people to move into their ideal living space, is what we always say. And from our point of view, that can be if you're looking to downsize and the kids have flown the nest and you want to get something smaller now because you're rattling around in a house, what we tend to hear, or you've got a newborn, or you've got kids that are getting older, want to have their own bedrooms, you want to get something bigger. It doesn't matter. The whole thing for us is helping you sell, helping you find the house as well. So it's
Great.
the whole move as opposed to just being about you selling. And that's what we tend to focus on as a whole, really. I don't like, I know that everyone says that you should blow your own trumpet and everything else. And I always find it tough because I always feel like I'm just going to start blabbering. So I always like to have questions to then be able to answer. But as in general, that's what we do. Look after
Brilliant.
everybody, the whole move, personal service, and high level marketing.
Brilliant. I love that. No, yes. But what's interesting about what you said, it must be really rewarding to not just sell the house, but know that you've helped to find the one that they're moving to and be part of the future of the client, not just the sort of the now.
Yeah, 100%. So we um we quickly realized that everybody wants to just sell, and if the selling part's the main part everyone will focus on. But it, like we said, or like I said, that's not them moving, and they still need to find the next part. And whether we hear of something that's on the grapevine or we go out and find it ourselves, is helping people get into that new home. And
Brilliant.
that is the satisfying part. And people we've had have been on journeys for months and sometimes years. When they finally find somewhere, it's like it's perfect. So yeah, it works well.
Wonderful. Yeah, that sounds absolutely great. And you talked about marketing that you've got a specific approach to marketing. Could you sort of give us a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so my business partner Julien, who's Julien Powell with a half, he will always tell me off for giving away too much, but I think it's important to share. So it's the biggest part for us. Whenever we sit down with people, I always ask them what's most important about the move,
Great.
and what do you look for in an estate agent? I always ask, and they'll come up with certain things, and what always comes up is communication and marketing essentially. So communication wise, you always set up a WhatsApp group to make sure we've got everyone back and forth, whether you need to have in there, if it's, I don't know, typical, let's just say, household with parents, two parents in the group, and it's myself and my colleagues in the office. Whoever needs to be in it's in the group. So it's back and forth communication.
Brilliant.
And then marketing wise for us, the photos are the basically your house is in the shop window. So we to make them look as good as we possibly can do. So we go around and we style houses. So we're taking our own props that we've got like our own inventory to make it look the best it possibly can do on the photos. And then one thing we're getting known for now is we go back at night and take twilight images as well. And again, it's when you're scrolling through Rightmove, what's gonna make you stop?
Yep.
And it's a different type of image, and the twilight images really do that. We have brochures for all our properties as well, so people have got something tangible to take away whenever
Yep.
they view, and it's just again a level above is how we see it. And then we also have our boards aren't typical Fowler and Powell for sale, Fowler and Powell sold. We obviously do have our logo on there, but the main part of the board is a picture of your house. So
Mm.
whether it's something, it could be you've got an amazing kitchen diner that we put on there because people pass by won't know that. Could have a really nice big back garden. Could be anything. Sometimes it's just a house at the twilight image. And again, boards are used for agents to market themselves, and we want to use it to market the house so people can see it in
Love
a
it.
different light. So you might get someone who passes by and thinks, "Ooh, the garden's bigger than I thought it was going to be. I want to view." I'm not saying that we're going to get millions of viewings, but there's an extra element of getting more attention. So yeah,
Love it. I mean, that's quite unique approach, I think, is it? But so valuable. It's about the client, not about you guys. She's bang on.
that's exactly it.
I really love that. So if we sort of start at early days, can you tell us a little bit more about your background, how you got into business, and why this particular one for you?
Sure. So for me personally, long story as short as possible because it is a long story. I was trying to, I was wanting to buy a house, and the agent, I offered the asking price, and it was off market. The agent said we have to put it forward to the vendor. They thought that they'd undervalued it though. The branch manager was the one who showed me around, and she hadn't been around to value it. So when she saw it, she said, "Oh, this is massively undervalued." So me being me, ran off and I offered asking price, and they said no. And I went on the market and sold it. And I thought, from a point of view as like a vendor, if you've got a house, you've been told the price by the agent, said yes to that, someone gives you that price, why would you not then say
Yeah,
yes and take it?
yeah,
I didn't quite understand, and I've wanted to get into properties to build a portfolio myself. So I thought the only way I'm going to learn this properly is by becoming an agent. And that's how it started. I didn't grow up thinking I want to be an estate agent. I didn't go to uni for it. It was literally that. And then from there, I got a job in a high street agency and was there for a few years and then set up Fowler and Powell.
brilliant. So you specifically looked at this is where I want to get to. This is how I'm going to. It's such a sensible thing. It's like I might as well learn. Get paid to learn my trade. What a clever,
Basically,
very sensible thing to
that's
do.
basically it.
So you mentioned this wasn't your sort of dream or goal, but what? So growing up, what was the dream? What was the thing that you had in your mind when you were a kid?
Well, if you were to ask my mum when I was if I was in primary school, it was always policeman. And then when I got my own little personality, I suppose it was in footballer. And then in school, I wasn't. I can play football. I'm all right at it, but I'm not going to be professional, and I don't like playing in the cold, so that doesn't work for me. Um, so when I was at high school and college, it was always something to do with IT. So I learned um, like advanced IT, and then I went to university and did software development, so programming, all that kind of jazz. Um, Hated it, but I completed the course because I managed to go to America for my second year. So when I came back, I had 1 year left, and I thought I might as well finish it off now.
Yeah, yeah,
So I did. So yeah, I've not worked a day in programming or anything to do with IT.
brilliant.
Um, but that's how it started, I suppose, in terms of the journey.
Oh, fantastic! Absolutely brilliant. And so looking back of the sort of founding the business and growing it, what do you say? What would you say are some of the biggest challenges or issues you've had to overcome as you've grown?
Get our name known is one of the big things for us.
Yeah,
Get ourselves out there as much as possible because I say that we had a bit of a standing start because both myself and Julien had been in the industry and worked in a high street agent, but we'd never put the foundations in place to open up our own business. We weren't
yeah,
being known in the public, and majority of my friends didn't, maybe don't, yeah, but didn't own houses.
yeah.
So it wasn't like I could call upon them to then say, I'll sell your house. It was like
Yes,
we had to get to know everybody in the area. And the challenge, well, that was the challenge in a sense. And from there, we've put our community as one of our main goals.
right.
Getting in the community, helping the community. So we raise money for charity. We do certain events to help people in the community. Like we've got an event that's called "Should I Extend or Sell?" And I say to everybody, don't get me wrong, the crowd we're gonna have, no one is gonna say I'm here because I want to sell my house. I know that I'm not daft, but it's like we get like a panel almost.
Yeah,
So we get an architect down, we get a mortgage broker, and we had someone from planning as well before. And it was an event that we put on just so people could understand the stages of extending their house.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So it's things like that, little events like that, which is what we do. So that's how we overcome it. But the challenge has always been getting our name out there. And even up
Yeah.
until now, 4.5, maybe 5 years in, people say to us, never heard of you.
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing thing. And then we're finding now it's recruitment,
Yeah.
getting people. I mean, we have currently, as we stand now, successfully hired a couple of people, but it's been recruitment up until now, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm finding that's quite a common feature. I think recruitment's changed certainly post COVID in general, but even I think even without COVID, it would have changed in terms of it's more an employees market nowadays. I think, and
Yeah,
we've got to get better at attracting and keeping great people. Probably more than if you go back a few years, it was probably more an employers market, and you put an advert out there and you'll get enough people applying. But I'm talking to a lot of businesses now about most businesses have a client. They market for new clients and they will have a retention policy of how we build on repeat business. But I think the same now is required for great people. It's we've got to target how we market for them to attract the right ones, and then really work hard to be good enough to keep them, because
this
there's
is
always
it.
other jobs.
I think it's just about being understanding as well. I mean, we're a small independent. We don't want to get to a corporate level. We want to remain like as we are.
Yep.
I think it's really appreciating and respecting your staff. So
Yeah.
for example, where we're talking about getting like little gifts for past clients, current clients for
Great.
Christmas. And I just said, because we were talking about the budget and obviously how much we're going to spend and different how many people is it going to be. And I said to Julien, I said, we need to really actually scale this back and look at the staff first.
Great.
And I said, we need to look at buying them a gift rather than trying to find gifts for everybody else. So we've worked it back and just got like a smaller number, but we're putting more money into the staff and
Yeah.
showing our appreciation to them. And it's like little things. I mean, we've got one of the members of staff who's just buying a house now. We helped her find the house. No, sorry, we didn't help her find. That's a lie. We helped her offer on the house,
Brilliant.
and
Yeah.
she's gonna complete. And it was like the completion day is a day off. Like, don't worry about coming into it. Like, just there you go. It's a day
Brilliant.
off. Birthday, just little things like that, making
Yeah.
it a place you want to come into work, I suppose. And we have a laugh every now and again. Yes, we're serious 'cause we're a business, but we have a laugh every now and again, as well. So it's just stuff like that.
Love it. No, absolutely love it. I think we have to work hard at being great employers now, and it's any little thing we could do. I think it's guy called Paddy Lundy talks about critical non-essentials, and the way he describes them are they're not essential to either doing business with a client or employing a person, but they're critical to the relationship. So they don't have to be things, but a little thing about helping, as you said, helping your employee get, buy the house, but then that day off on the day is such a special day. What a
Yeah.
great story to tell other people that I got the day of my house purchase off. What a wonderful thing to do. So those are some of the challenges. What are some of the things you learned about growing a business? What are some of the other things that you've found as you've grown?
Um, you need to get people in. I suppose it goes back to recruitment, but it's getting people in before you need them. And
Great.
it's so hard because you're thinking about your income and how much they're going to cost in terms of expense, and you're not going to need them now, and we need them later. So there's all of that, but I think it's getting people in before you need them because then you've got time to train them. One
Great.
of the biggest things is right now time, and
Yeah.
even though it's December and we're coming up to Christmas and everything else, it's weird that we're as busy as we are. We're not normally. So we've got, like I say, a couple of new starters, and trying to find a time to train them is really difficult. So one of the biggest things, excuse me, one of the biggest things I'd say is to get people before you need them, so
Brilliant.
you can got time to train them. And then one of the other things that we do is everybody who's doing a task has to write and make a task sheet. So if they are not there for whatever reason, they're on holiday, they're day off, they're sick, whatever it is, if that task needs doing, then someone's there to do it. So
Great.
it's always available.
Great.
Um, so that's another thing as well. So yeah. two biggest lessons I suppose learned.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely brilliant and really valuable learnings about, as you said about growing. And one of the things we often say to business owners, and you pick that up, is employ someone when you can half afford them, because that's the gap. If you wait till you can fully afford them, it's too late. That we've already got more business than we can manage, and so that gives you that little bit of gap. And part of their job often is to create the other half of their income and more, so that they start
That's it.
to pay their way. No, very very sensible. And I think you're aware we're a business coaching organisation. I'm keen to know who the best coaches are that you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, life in general. Who's had the biggest impact on you?
So one of the things I suppose we're lucky with, the person where we used to work before, um, the director I used to work really closely with,
Yep.
and he ran the triathlons. So he had a run, swim, and cycling coach to help him with all three.
Yeah.
And he also had a business coach. So I've always had in my head you need to have some form of business coach, as has Julien as well, same place we used to work. So we've always had that mentality. So for us, we joined originally an estate agency franchise called Keller Williams,
Oh yes, I know.
and they had a Keller Williams, so they had a business coach there, and the there were two. One didn't work out so well for us, but another one who was absolutely amazing. And he's
Brilliant.
called Craig Delahoy. I'm not afraid to share his name. Called Craig
Great.
Delahoy. A absolutely spot on coach. So we've had him since well, not since we started, but a few months after we started, basically.
Brilliant.
So he's our number one. But there's in our industry we're blessed if you've got that mindset, that mentality. We've got so many different industry experts
Yep.
who share their knowledge. They do really well in their own agency and they put on like mastermind days and training days and whatever else. And you tend to find and see the same agent turn up to the same types of things all the time.
Yep.
So you get to know a lot of agents in the industry as well, up and down the country.
Great.
So whether obviously, like I said, we've got our coach, which is perfect, but then we've also got other agents we're really close with who are up and down the UK who are doing really good things and they share. So we
Yep.
all share best practice and it just works tremendous. This works so well. So yeah, there's Craig is our specific coach, but everyone's sharing best practice what works best for us.
So valuable, because it's like, we don't all need to go through all the learnings to get it. You can share, get there faster. That's one of the beauties of
Yeah,
coaching and mastermind groups, is we can get there faster by learning from each other. And it's just,
this is it.
it's
But
so
I do think though that from my point of view, everyone who has a business should have a business coach. Like they it's just so important to have someone who knows not specifically your industry, but knows business and knows the steps that you can take, the plan that you need to put together, and anything really. Someone to help them, whether you're a double act with like myself and Julien, or you're solopreneur, as people are saying now.
yes.
Um, a business coach for me is imperative, and I know a lot of people don't see it because they're not used to it and they fall into business, but my one piece of advice is always to get a business coach.
Great. Well, obviously, I would fundamentally support that. So thank you for that. But it does make a difference, and the statistics support it as well in terms of business success and obviously avoiding business failure. So it's just a sensible thing. And the reality is, every successful business person pretty much will have already got the fact that they'll have a coach or even a number of coaches, because
Yeah,
as you mentioned, because it's if you do a triathlon, you do need three coaches because it's three different
yeah,
disciplines. And I
yeah,
know quite a few successful people have multiple coaches throughout their lives, whether that's business, health, and various other things. So yeah, no, that's wonderful to hear and see. And whether it's from coaching or just in general, have you picked up any favorite quotes or sayings that you find yourself using a lot, Levi?
oh man, I wasn't expecting that. Uh, there's there's quite a few things that I use. I'm trying to think of one that's like appropriate, I suppose. Um, I can't. You've got me there. Come
All
back to
good.
that. Come back
All
to that.
good. Yeah,
Come back to that.
it's all good. It's just sometimes I find people, have one or two that they really get. The one that comes to mind that I just love. It's a guy interviewed a couple of years ago who runs who owns let me just get it, the Cut and Craft brand of restaurants and the Lucia's brand of
Yeah,
restaurants, Oscar. And he's one thing he said about his business and about serving people in the restaurants was that he said, Chris, people work really hard for the money they spend in our restaurants, and we want them to get the best service and the best quality of food to match that. And his job is to see that that happens above anything, including profit. It's like, if you nail service, and I just think that's really cool. But the quote he had specifically was, and it's so simple that I loved. He just said, "Don't look back because you're not going in that direction." And
yes.
I, I like that because too many of us, including me, sometimes we're looking back about things and rather than keeping the main eye on the future and what's next. I think is
I I think one of the things that it's not necessarily a quote unless we're going to make it one now, but
yes,
one of
that's
the things
good.
that I live, one of the things that I live by is everything is your responsibility.
Yeah,
So whether for me, if you come to late work because there's a traffic jam, that's still your fault.
yep,
Like it's your responsibility because you should have left earlier. So you
yep,
can't make that same mistake twice. For me, if I go to somebody's house and they say they don't want to use us because of whatever reason, that's not that's my fault for not
right,
making them understand how we work. And that's one thing that I live by, regardless of what it is, even with my
right,
kids putting them to bed and they want to get up and they want to come downstairs 15 times before they eventually go to sleep. I'm like, it's my fault because I need to make sure that they go to the toilet first, then they have a drink of water because they whinge about that. They
yep,
eat as much as they can. It's just everything is my
yeah.
responsibility. So I live by that.
Brilliant. There's a lot of great. Well, funny enough, there's a lot of great because that's very much stoicism. It's about us, and there's some
Yeah.
wonderful stoic quotes. If you're ever interested to search it up, there's loads of
I've got one of the books, Letters from
great.
a Stoic. Someone told me to get, so I'll have to read through that to see. Yeah.
There's some wonderful quotes. There's a great book which is 365 stoic quotes, one for every day. So
Yeah.
you
When I
literally and lovely simple book, but it's a great thing is because it does mean we use the term above and below the point of power, and basically below the point of power is blame, excuses, or denial. It's and that's
yeah.
disempowering because we're saying my results are not about me, they're about somebody didn't do something or client didn't do something as you said or
Yeah.
whereas if we take ownership, accountability, and responsibility, everything's about us, which means our
Yeah.
future is designed and defined by ourselves. We can create our own future.
Well, this is it. So just here's a quote then for you. It's the same thing, but um, I actually used this on my missus before and got told off. But my business coach says you either have reasons or results.
Great.
It's up to you. It's reasons or results. Like if he says to us, have you done that event? And we say, oh no, because it's like it's just a reason. There's no reason. So yeah, reasons or there you go. You either have reasons or you have results. So there you
Brilliant. Love that. I think that there's another one along the same lines, which is the and I can't remember what book it comes from, but it's a difference between a warrior and an ordinary person, is that an ordinary person treats everything as a blessing or a curse, whereas a warrior treats everything as a challenge. And I quite like that. It's neither good or bad. It's just we're going to make things happen. And um,
go. Yeah,
so what? And we think
yeah.
about sort of things we've learned, etc. What have you learned about yourself throughout your journey and your career so far, Levi?
Probably the same thing again. Everything's my responsibility. Everything's my
Yeah.
fault. And that's in my relationship too. Whether that's right or wrong, who knows? But about myself, um, I'd say that I've learned that the journey is never going to be complete. I've learned that I'm always going to be reaching, learning, developing, and I'm never going to get to that end goal. And I've learned that, and I've accepted that.
Yeah.
So therefore, I don't believe I'll go crazy. trying to um, dream big
Yeah.
every time because the goalposts always move is what I've found.
Yep.
So yeah, but there's no such thing as having like a work-life balance. It's one way or the other is what I've found as well. And you choose, you decide.
Yeah.
For me, there's like I said, I've got two little girls, 6 and 3, and for me, I'm working as much as I can do now for them and trying
Yep.
to do whatever I can do for them. So I might end up working late one day and I come back and they're already in bed or they're going to bed or whatever it might be. And I think to myself, I can't get that time back.
Yep.
So if anything, I need to cut off work, go home, spend the time with them, play with them, do whatever doing, put them to bed, and then I can pick up the laptop if I need to. I get in trouble from the missus, but I pick up the laptop if I need to at least have that time with them. So it's just yeah, balancing that out as much as you possibly can do. But you either choose one or the other, and
I
there's no
I
true
agree.
balance.
I agree. I completely agree. I think it's actually there should be a work-life imbalance, but in favor of life.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, yeah,
if it's balanced, it means 50% of our time and our effort and energy is work. Well, yeah, yeah, okay, we've got to get that done, but it's all about life, isn't it? Surely, because
yeah,
it's fairly
100%.
short and things change so quickly. Like our kids grow up, my kids are grown up. The youngest is 17, so you
Yeah,
occasionally see her, but most of the time, she's with her friends doing her thing, and
this is it.
that's how it should be.
That's exactly.
Um,
Someone said to me before, you need to like, is everybody here working for their kids? And like hands are up, and it's like, oh, is it to like so you can go on holidays and buy nice things for them, and everyone's hands up? And I said, right, depending on how old your kids are, you've only got so many years before they don't want to see you again.
yeah.
So you need to do that now rather than trying to work your socks off to do it after. So yeah,
Absolutely, enjoy it. Enjoy it because it doesn't last. It obviously for me it gets it changes and changes often for the better, but they will have their own lives. So the time
yeah,
of together is it definitely reduces, even if the quality of that time or the different things you do that time is different. So I guess looking towards the future, what does the future look like for you and the business? And what do you think some of the main challenges you might face, if any, Levi?
so potentially open up another office, another
Great.
area. So like I mentioned, getting over to Collingham now a little bit,
Yep.
Collinglington, Wetherby Way, and wanting to open up around there or York to serve York, that area, and
Brilliant.
Harrogate as well. So
Yep.
it's just trying to do all of that. So potentially another office. And the challenge is again a bit the same thing or similar thing. Um, because realistically it's going to be recruitment again,
Yep.
and then how the branches or offices would work together
Yep.
um, to have obviously the same result. So that's the future for us, and we've got a separate brand, separate company where we help self-employed agents become agents.
Great.
So there's that too as well, and that's called the home movement. So the future of that is then getting the staff in there for that to support the
Yep.
agents, but getting more agents.
Brilliant.
Because ultimately, what we want to help people, and we know what we're doing now, so trying to help people with our knowledge and our expertise, I suppose, to get
Yes.
people to be the best that they can be. So
Yep.
that's the future. And like I say, the main thing is recruitment. I think
Yeah.
getting the right people to do the right jobs, right person, right seat, as I say.
Great. Oh, well, and obviously the best of luck with everything that you do. And I'm keen to know what you'd say to anyone that was thinking of going to business right now.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. No, I'm only joking.
Brilliant.
I think I think anybody looking to go into business, um, my advice is speak to people in the industry already, get a business coach, but do it. As you've already said, life's too short.
Yeah.
It's if you want to do something, go out and do it. Really
Great.
put your heart and soul and everything into it. Make sure it's measured and you know what's going on.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd say to do it for sure, 100%.
Wonderful.
Go out there and
Wonderful.
do it.
And if you started again, is there anything significant that you do differently, do you think?
Um, what I do differently. Someone else asked me this before, and I had a great answer, and I can't remember what it is now. So obviously, I must have made it up. Um, what I do differently, I think probably get ourselves out into the public. Sorry, I was sat in the car, as you can tell. Um, get ourselves out into the public more and
Yeah,
quicker than what we did do to make sure that we've got a name for ourselves.
yeah,
Don't worry so much about our logo and everything else.
yeah.
Just get out there and start speaking to people and start helping people as much as we possibly can do. That's probably the main thing. I think we worried too much about our image, worried too much about our location where we were, and we believed we were sending out letters and that would just work. We'd get people falling in, like, yeah, we want to sell our house with you, but that obviously wasn't the case. So
Yeah.
getting ourselves out there a bit quicker, getting into the community a bit quicker, and helping more people.
Brilliant. Love it. Absolutely love it. And finally, what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do so?
Buy houses now. Probably what
Brilliant.
an 18-year-old me, I genuinely would be saying to start looking at buying property now. That's one thing, yeah, for sure. I would have done.
Yes. Brilliant. It certainly is a time-based activity, isn't it?
Yeah,
The earlier you get, the earlier you do, the better it is, without a shadow of a doubt.
yeah, I think that, and get into business quicker is what I'd say. Learn your trade quicker.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And Levi, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really fascinating, and I really applaud everything you're doing. And it's great to see that you've got expansion plans to the to next office, etc. And for anyone that's watching that might like to get in touch with you or the business, what would be the best way to do so?
Go on our website, fowlerandpowell.co.uk. Give us a call, audible 13 873 0087. Or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. It's just Fowler and Powell, yeah, UK.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much. It'd be great to swing by in another sort of 6, 12 months and just see how the next stage of development's gone with the new, obviously
Yeah, for sure.
the new offices, etc. So thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to catching up with you in the future.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.